Right, I'm back. That was we're now on a different show, and hopefully Leland. It was nice meeting you as well, Pat. Leland will be joining me in a moment, and we can get on with Across the Pond. Just keeping one eye on Wimbledon because it's Wimbledon fortnight, and there's tennis. Although our champion Andy Murray is not playing until tomorrow. So, okay, I've got the notification, and if I click there, I can invite a guest. And this is exciting. Will it work or will it not work? That's the question.
That's when a plan comes together. Yeah.
Okay, this is better. Just let me close the door.
Yep, I'm going to move my lower third over just a hair here. I see that's a little out of whack.
Okay. I've just been chatting with Pat Roke, who's a friend of Bob's. Because I was here waiting for Nicolette to test. All right, good afternoon, sir.
All right, whoops, I still got a little adjustment to make here, Stephen.
Okay, no worries.
I know it's not going to matter once the video goes to the recording, but I like people be able to see my name when I'm in here in the window. So you can hear me okay? Sounds okay?
Yeah, I've put your name across the top as well, although it's the wrong way.
Yeah, and I'm kind of the one thing I noticed as we came out here with the new up to 4 people thing, with the name tags that they're adding, you can't see your own, which I thought was kind of disconcerting. It's like sometimes I forget who I am. I need to remind myself every now and then. So it would be nice to have that.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So I'm sure you're aware. Well, you probably want to start this show off, Stephen, at 12. So I won't get into anything that's been going on over here until 12 o'clock shows.
Okay, right.
Who is this individual that you were talking might stop by today?
Nicolette. I'm doing a series of shows with about Empire Cred this weekend. About Twitter and Foursquare and the site itself. And she just wants to familiarize herself with it. But she's on mobile. Will she be able to broadcast from mobile?
Gotcha.
Will she be able to broadcast from mobile or not?
Here on Firetalk?
Yeah.
They should be able to. The iOS is supported as far as whether the app for Fire. I know for a while I couldn't even get on firetalk.com with an Android phone.
Yeah.
And now I do have access because the app is the website is responsive. Yep. I'm sorry, I'm going to turn my phone off here. People have been dinging my phone all morning today. So send Barb. We need to send Barb a link so that she knows what's going on.
Yeah.
That's where I was getting messages from. So I'm turning off my phone, Stephen, before the show starts, or I'm going to be lighting up like a Christmas tree over here. Apologize, I didn't do this earlier. Working with Ani Alexander about branding her new podcast this morning.
All right, okay.
Working with Mike Sheehan about our arbitrage/eBay business that we worked together on. And it was we were trying to figure out who in the hell is going to host this show from here on out because we haven't really determined on that regard what we're doing sometimes.
That's true.
And I'll just put it out there so that we get it perfectly straight without messing up with the test. Stephen, I would be honored to have you host it so that you have the ability to repurpose it much easier because that way that gives you the back end and you'll have all the access to the videos. I'll just come by for the show and we'll do it that way.
Okay.
One thing I thought of that I mentioned to you was the possibility that it might be better to do it just like this. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't see any problem with it. We can still go full screen, can't we?
Yeah, let's talk about that when the show starts then, because that's something I'd like to discuss a little bit and just kind of cover what I enjoyed this weekend, and we'll go from there. So if you want to do an intro for the show, I think we're wrapping up toward the 12 o'clock hour. Feel free.
Okay. Good afternoon and welcome. And if you're in the USA, still good afternoon. It's the Across the Pond show with myself and Leland Best. And what we're doing over the course of the next 30 minutes, 45 minutes is to discuss things which join the two countries together. And we've had fun on the previous 2 shows and hopefully the same today. Good afternoon, Leland.
I got to show my my support here for the USA today.
All right, okay.
For all of you over on that side of the pond, we all know 240 years ago we didn't get along so well, but things change over time, and with our celebration that takes place here as Independence Day on the 4th of July, we celebrate our freedom from tyranny, from what was much more a heavy-handed monarchy back then.
Oh, yes.
Now it's much more a democracy. Or do you guys consider yourself a republic now also, or no?
No. Well,
I didn't think so, because you still got the Queen running the show.
We're a monarchy.
That's what
Queen Elizabeth has a slightly different approach to King George.
Yes, yes.
So we live in enlightened times, I think.
I totally,
which is good.
Yeah, because for us, if you've ever seen interviews with people over here in the States, Stephen, a lot of them don't even understand what Independence Day is all about. They think it's just fireworks and barbecue pits and ribs and beer and all that other kind of stuff. And those of us who, I have family that served in the Revolutionary War, we know what it was about. Our family is very much tied to the military over time, not so much now as it was in the past. My father served in Vietnam. My son was, or my brother was a Marine who was over in Iraq after the first war over there took place to clean up the mess. And a lot of other family members have served their time and retired from the military. So this is just another one of those holidays that our family holds dear to our hearts, because it was the opportunity for a country to free itself from tyranny is really what it comes down to. And we know now that that's somewhat, I've heard Britain announce their Independence Day with this whole Brexit thing that we've talked about the last couple of times, but I don't think they get it in the right light. I think they approach that incorrectly.
It's not of the same magnitude. I mean, America separated from the UK after the war that took place, and we've both gone our separate ways since, but we're still joined because we're joined by a shared most of the things we share. We share television, we share sport, we share an outlook on the world, we share responsibility for peace in the world, and we try our best as working together to do that. As far as our Independence Day is concerned, the gentleman who said that has since resigned.
Yeah.
Will be consigned to history, hopefully, along with his plans for the EU. But that was last week's question. So, as you say, I mean, I think that we've got a similar situation in the UK, in that youngsters just aren't aware of the significance of holidays. It's just a day off, and the significance of 240 years ago is that two countries broke apart.
And that is the truth. I mean, my family was on both sides, like I mentioned before, so it was a difficult time for them also. And you're experiencing that same 50-50 shift on your side of the pond, because there are those who enjoy being in the EU. They enjoy the trade agreements that have been, fostered over time. And it's very difficult for them to accept this breakaway from a nation folded together that worked so well for them. So it's got to be tough. But our weekend was pretty pleasant. I'll just give you a quick rundown, Stephen. We had the weekend working up to Monday, obviously, is all preparation. Our neighbors have this huge, extravagant party next door where they have the pool and the blow-up bouncy houses and chairs all across their yard. And they invite half the town, basically, to come over next door to us because she's the city assessor. And we have been working on clearing up our little plot over here. The neighbor next to us just painted their house green. The one that had the party was yellow, and ours is a light blue that looks like it hasn't been painted in about 50 years. So now, of course, guess who gets to paint their house next week or somewhere in there. But the party led up to a big parade on Monday where I wanted to go live, but I don't have the bandwidth to do that in this area. I really wish I did. Because we had a huge display of tractors. Now, I know in your neck of the woods, you're kind of out in some farm country over there, aren't you?
Wiltshire is farming country, yes.
What kind of tractors do they drive over there?
I'm going to say Massey Ferguson, but that will be...
We saw some of those.
Yeah.
My family's looking to rebuild an old Alice Chalmers this coming summer. That's been around in the family farm since the 30s. It's been sitting up there rotting away if they're not hopefully it's not that bad. I think they're going to be able to rebuild it, but a lot of farm-alls and Case and John Deere's drove through town. I think they must have had 60 or 70 tractors drive through town the other day. And I also posted some hot rods. So being the Detroit area, we definitely get a lot of muscle cars around here. And I got some photos over on my Facebook page if you guys want to see some of the stuff that we ran into.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a lot of fun.
Engineering fascinates me. If I hadn't been a programmer, I would love to have been an engineer and been involved in that sort of technology rather than the computer side.
And mechanical was something I never got into.
All right.
I was a civil engineer for a while. Not a PE. I was the design end of things, but enjoyed that a lot. So what did you guys do over the weekend? Was there anything that popped up in your world?
Well, there's no celebrations here. We don't celebrate July 4th for the obvious reason that we lost. So there are no celebrations. There is an acknowledgement. I mean, thanks to Facebook Live, I was able to watch quite a few of the celebrations that were going on, which brought things to life because we don't get it on British television at all. So Facebook Live is serving a useful purpose in showing us exactly what's going on in real time. And there was a parade of presidents, and that was a fascinating program to watch. In the UK, of course, now is summer and the sun is shining, and it's Wimbledon.
Oh yeah, tennis time. That's for sure.
We are in the second week of Wimbledon, and situation is that the Williams sisters, that's Serena, and Venus, who have been around since forever, are again taking Wimbledon by storm, and they're both through to the semi-finals, and they rule women's tennis and have done for years. I mean, there's nobody strong enough to stop them. It's not a question of talent, it's a question of power, and they can outpower anybody. I mean, the speed at which they can return a shot or take a shot is just amazing.
Oh, just amazing. Those two women have been at it like that for the longest time, and it's hard to imagine them doing it any differently. So
they're entertaining everybody. Everybody's eating strawberries and cream, of course, and crafting champagne. But we have our own tennis player, a gentleman called Andy Murray, who is Scottish, but he's also British, and he will stay British until he loses, in which case he'll be Scottish again. But at the moment, he's British. He's just got through the round of 8, so he plays in the semi-finals tomorrow. And he plays a Frenchman, and we're hoping that he does well and he actually gets through to the final, because Djokovic, who's the number 1 in the world and has been for a long time, was actually knocked out last week, surprisingly so. So it's a good chance for our player to win his second Wimbledon. So that's what we're all cheering for, and we're hoping the sun stays shiny. Okay, I just heard from Nicolette. I'll come back to that in a minute. So we're hoping the sun stays shining and that Andy Murray wins his second Wimbledon title. Other than that, we don't want to talk about football.
Nope, we gave that up.
We gave that up. When Iceland beat us and then France whooped their ass. France did us a favour in the following round. And, so honours even for Europe, although we're not part of the EU anymore. So. Yeah.
No, that's all good. And I've never really been a big sports fan, Stephen. I enjoy sports. I'm more of like a hockey kind of guy myself. I love watching hockey players do their thing. And for me, it's more of the lesser impact style sports. I love billiards, to be honest with you. I'm an avid fan of shooting pool. I've been shooting pool for decades, and it's something I lost up my table. I sold my table not long ago, probably years ago, but it's something I miss very much. And I'm more into those types of sports myself. I used to golf, and then I threw my shoulder out. So I played ball. I did all that stuff. I used to play football with the locals in the grass, breaking each other's bones as we could go along. But our version of football, of course, not yours. And it was just, it's never been my forte. I enjoy the casual things when it comes to that. Okay. But I saw some news yesterday. This is way off course because it is kind of out there. Did you see that NASA's Juno project managed to go into orbit around Jupiter yesterday.
I heard such, yes.
That's
yes.
kind of cool I love that stuff. I mean,
yeah.
We're reaching out to the farthest reaches of our solar system now and making this connection to planets that we only saw from the outside. Now we're orbiting around them for, this is going to get crazy in the next decade or so.
Indeed. I mean, we can both remember Neil Armstrong and the landing on the moon landings.
Yep.
And it's just fascinating. I mean, we for one reason or another, the whole space program sort of collapsed in on itself, didn't it?
Yeah, I'd say. There's even conspiracy theories over here in the States that they think that whole lunar landing was a fake and people were making stuff up on a studio with a green screen or whatever.
What was the film called? One of my favorite films.
I don't recall the name of that, Stephen. I don't know.
Yeah. I do. Perhaps somebody who's watching knows what the name of the film was, where they did say that it was all a conspiracy and you never actually landed on the moon. Of course, the thing at the moment is that we have our own astronaut, a gentleman called Tim Peake.
Really?
Yeah, he's up there at the moment, orbiting the Earth and sending messages back. Okay. So the space race is still there.
See if that was probably that wasn't Operation Avalanche. That's a different one. It wasn't Capricorn 1. That was like 1977.
That's the one.
Is that it? Capricorn 1?
Well done. Yep.
Yeah, that goes way back, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
That was around the time when nobody believes in. Good afternoon, Neil. And good afternoon to, shall we do a roll call?
Yeah, we got a few folks here in the room today.
Alfredo, Bob, and Beauty.
Yeah,
welcome.
I'm slinging in as we go. And what we wanted to try today, Stephen, I think we agreed was a good shot in the dark just to see what would happen. We've pulled this show off as an event in the past. And one of the issues with the event process here on Facebook is it's not tied to your channel. So what we've discovered is that as you do so, you have to share out a link that can change if you do another event. So you have to make sure you save that link for future viewing. But with the ability to share only on that page, we thought, well, let's just see about doing a show off Stephen's channel. That way he can repurpose all of the videos that he does on his website and just promote it out. Just do the Twitter and the Facebook shares and see what happens and see if we get any better engagement. Because what we could do from here on out is just say, okay, everybody, just go to firetalk.com/Stephen Healey for Across the Pond. And that's it. Yeah. Where it would be every time at the same time on Tuesday at noon Eastern anyway, and show up. And I think that might be something worthwhile, but it's A/B test. Let's see what happens.
It's certainly worth trying. I mean, the thing is, you don't, as viewers, need to buy tickets. No, that's the first. That's the first thing, positive thing. You don't need to buy tickets. You can just turn up and watch. So we're going to try it out, and we'll see how it goes. But it is. I mean, I am loving Firetalk, has to be said, and I've got 4 shows this weekend. I'm looking forward to those as well.
So Alfredo, you're gonna launch a rocket, Alfredo? You're gonna send one out yourself and just that'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it?
It would. There are rocketeers around. I mean, it is more than a hobby. There are people who can actually put the things into orbit just working on their own.
For sure.
And
as far as the events go, just so we're clear here, you can create a Facebook Live event also, if you wanted to, through your groups or even off of your page. You can create an event if you'd like, and then just tell people you're going live, and then fire up your live broadcast from your page if you wanted to that day. So there are several ways to do that. But as far as Firetalk goes, Stephen and I have stressed this over and over again. There are going to be thousands of platforms that are going to come out, but none has the infrastructure underneath like Firetalk has, and the longevity that it's been around. Honestly, it's changed over time, but it's been around for nearly 2 decades now, and it's just something that people didn't realize was here. And it has changed its face, it's changed its clothes, whatever you want to call it. It has improved over time also, and we're dealing very closely with the developers of this system and they're working with us on the back end very well to give us the features that, like the 4 square video. That's something I've been asking for months now over here at Firetalk. And when Caitlin said, yes, the rumors are true, we're finally doing the 4 squares. Originally, it was, we don't ever intend on doing 4 squares. But I kept telling people, let Firetalk know you want 4 squares, and we'll find a way to get them. And now we have them. So is Nicolette available, or is she going to be coming into?
No, she's going to come tomorrow. Neil is in fact real life Sergeant TCS. Of Don't Stream and Drive. So good to see you here, Neil. We've had a situation over recent months where Blab has become unreliable, and the problem is that you can't know that guests are going to come on. At the moment, Blab have closed the doors, so if you want to walk in guests, it's not going to happen because they can't even sign in with Twitter. Whereas with this platform, you don't have to. It's nice if you do sign in, but you don't have to, and you can get passing traffic. So
love it. I love it. That's my favorite part about this platform, is that they don't have to have an account. They don't have to sign up. They just come watch the show.
That's right. And it's hopefully you can appreciate everybody who's watching. The quality of the video and the sound is perfect. Yes. And we do get the replays of the same quality sent to us 2 hours after the show. I mean, we used to get the replays on Blab sometimes, and but there was no guarantee.
These show up almost within 10 or 15 minutes after the show. And events, that's why one of the reasons also, Stephen, that it's nice to move over maybe from events to this format is because of the fact that you get your replay much faster than if you do an event, because the event is a separate server, it's a separate channel, and it has to be processed in a different fashion. That's something Caitlin stressed to me right off the bat, was that it will take much longer for us to receive the post-production video, or the one that we want to put into post-production, I should say, after the show's over. So this method, once you're done, it takes like 10, 15 minutes and your video is ready to go. So that's a big plus. You want to bring the sergeant in here to say hi and give him a chance to, I haven't seen him in a while. I don't get to chat with him much. So if you want to bring him in, if he's willing and wants to get on camera, here he comes. So this is giving you guys a little bit of a display of what a 3-seater looks like. And I know I mentioned this to Caitlin, that the host space camera kind of gets scrunched up, so you almost have to back up a little, Stephen, when you see yourself go into that. There you go. Now you can see his whole face.
Yeah.
That's just one of those things. Hey, Neil. Looks like he's got a little bit of lag going on.
Yeah. Well, let him catch up. I mean, basically, the 3 thing is a problem. When you've got 4, it's not a problem.
No, so it's much better. And I'm hoping they give us a little more room for the 4, because with the channel updates down below, which is another thing I love, is that when you promote something or you create a future event, those will still show up as upcoming events below this page, because it's an event you created on your channel. So you can actually promote that while you're sitting here and say, hey guys, we're here for this live show and across the pond, but be sure to come by for our event next Thursday, which you can find below, and they can simply go down there and look for it. So another key.
True. And the other thing which I love about the platform is that you can create a YouTube playlist, and you can attach it to the profile, and that YouTube playlist plays over and over.
24/7.
Yep. So it's free advertising, which is brilliant. So anybody who comes to this URL when we're not live will see the videos.
There he is.
We're on the march.
Hello, Neil.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yep. So you can see me. This is the
lagging. Are you on a phone, Neil? You must be. Oh, look at that little icon. I've never seen that one before. That's new. But for when somebody's not coming in. Sorry, Neil. It looks like your signal just is not holding up.
Right. Okay. And Tommy's mentioning that Wi-Fi may be the problem.
Yeah, probably.
So basically, I'm going to.
Sorry, Neil. Maybe next time. We'll have to get him on a more sturdy connection next time. So Barbara mentioned something else I saw in the chat a second ago, which I was not aware of, and that's the newest Skype meetings over at Skype.com.
Oh, right. Okay.
Interesting, because with this huge connection with Microsoft and the fact that they just bought out LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Where do you think Skype's going to be used the most?
There are marketing opportunities that we could only dream of there.
And that's a steady platform. That's
right. Okay, the kids are playing on the Wi-Fi, so that's understandable. We all need to chill. Right. Okay.
We'll look into that information. That's something we definitely want to have. And I've just been really kind of flabbergasted with where things have been going. And Stephen, I know you and we've used a lot of them out there. And Skype is obviously going to be a stable platform. I trust in Firetalk, and I'm just going to put this out there. For those of you who want to get into live streaming, don't waste your time with all these little named brands that are trying to make a name for themselves in live streaming until they've become a name, until they can show people that they are in it for the long haul. Because I just see a lot of people trying to pop up shows and get email addresses and get signups and get some money going, and then suddenly they're gone. And why waste your time? Why put all that effort into that?
Indeed. I mean, the situation is that you've got Huzza and you've got Firetalk. And for me, Firetalk wins for the following reasons. Absolutely. One, it's free. Okay. Now, you can't beat free. So that's the first point. The second point is the sheer quality. As Neil said, it's the quality of the video and the sound on a decent Wi-Fi connection. You couldn't get better no matter where you went. And third is the fact that they do, at the end of this, supply the MP4 for redeployment elsewhere.
And it's an ease of use thing also, Stephen, I think.
Yep, indeed. It's just log in and you're off. And I love the fact that they give so many facilities for free. Now, the other thing, I was on here earlier today, and we were actually doing the Blabbing for Britain tour of Firetalk with all the people from Blabbing for Britain, and Dorney as well, and Guy Cook, so it wasn't totally British. And since that, Kevin Arrow, who I think we've both talked to before and been a mate for years, he's going to launch a pay-per-view show. And I'm going to help him promote it, and we're going to see where that goes, because the other thing is that this platform can be used as pay-per-view content.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've tried, but probably not enough focus. I want to do a webcasters workshop out here on Firetalk as a paid subscription or a pay-per-view. But honestly, with the summer, the way it's been going, I've been focused on several things, and that's not one of them. I just really wanted to get into a big live streaming academy system. And I think I was better to leave it to those who have been doing it even longer than I have and let them be the teachers in the live streaming mode. I'm here to provide the product and the platform and the format and help people start a show. But I'm not at a point right now where I want to spend a lot of time teaching live stream academy broadcasting, because it's just that kind of thing that I'd love to do it, but it's so time consuming, and I don't want to lose focus for people. I want people to just get out here and start streaming and really get their message out. And that's the important part. Too many people spend too much time on the intricacies of it, and there's no need to, really, with the simplicity that we have available to us now. If we can point, shoot, broadcast, and go live, then let's just do it and start talking about it.
Totally agree. I mean, Kevin is well placed to do a chargeable event, because he runs the 30-day blogging challenge, which takes people from not blogging to being competent bloggers in 30 days. And he and Sarah have been doing that for a number of years, and they have a Facebook group which has had thousands, if not tens of thousands of people through there. So he's got a ready-made market for that. So it'd be good to help him and see how it goes. And he was made up about Firetalk. And the other person who was really enthusiastic about Firetalk today was Dorney, because Huzza burns her processors. She doesn't have a chance on there, because there's something not quite right. If you're on here or if you're on Blab, your processor just ticks over.
Yep.
If you go into Huzza, it goes through the roof.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I did a show on there, and I had the creator tab open and the live show open, and it was nearly 100%, which is crazy.
Now, what kind of processor are you running, Stephen? Do you have a
Quad.
dual core or a quad core, you said?
Quad core. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Because right now, honestly, and I have a window open. I've got 2 browser windows and Facebook open, and I'm running a near 4 gigahertz 6-core AMD, which Intel will always beat out AMD when it comes to live stream video. Just put that out there because they are much better at the graphics interoperability with the processor and the core. The way it's built, honestly, the CPU is constructed a little bit differently than the AMD, which is more focused toward gaming and the ability to process the 3D graphics. So I'm pushing out about 60% of my processor, and that's running 6 cores right here on this page. And get 4 in here, you've got to accommodate for the extra video that's streaming from the other 2 people. You get on Whoza, and that was my other issue. There was 6 seats is kind of pushing it. You're having to process 6 video feeds at one time, and that's crazy.
It's not just how it feels for the presenters, it's the viewers. And if the viewers can't see what's going on, then you've got a problem. But you don't have that problem on Blab and Firetalk.
That's something I might want to cover with you real quick, Stephen, so that you get an idea of where I connected with Caitlin and Rush here at Firetalk. I sent them a message the other day, and it was kind of about the features that we'd like to see. So let's just throw out there some things that we might want as a group effort, remind them that we would love to see here. One of the things when we get 4 squares, we don't have mute buttons yet to mute people out of the conversation, or at least cover up when dogs are barking or traffic goes by or kids are screaming or whatever. Okay.
Fine.
So, because I noticed this in the recordings, I don't know if you've watched a recording of a 4 square yet, but there is no mute for focusing the windows.
Right.
Like they had on Blab, where if one person raised their voice enough, they could talk over anyone in the room and the other people would automatically be muted.
Indeed.
If you listen to the recordings that we did last week as a test, myself, when I came out here on my channel, it was very convoluted in the recording because people would still talk over each other and you could hear everybody speak in the recording. So something to keep in mind.
I'll go with that one.
Yeah, we need to learn our point of silence, and I'm terrible at it. I know that. I talk over people. I tend to interrupt, and I really need to watch myself sometimes when I go live. The 3 window layout obviously is a little strange. We know that. We'd like to see them fix that up a little bit. And there's no name tag for the person that's on their own side. I would love to see those show up in the recordings, the name tags. The format, I love the 16:9. It could be maybe a little bit bigger. And the only other thing was that we can't subscribe to people who are in the chat. I would love to be able to pick on someone's name over here, like Barbara or Alfredo, and see that they have a channel. Now, here I can subscribe to Alfredo. Maybe it's dependent on whether you have already or not.
I think if you click on Sergeant TCS, you've nothing. If you click on Bomb,
so he's not logged in, I'll bet.
Probably not.
That's more likely what it is, because he has no account. It's only showing up as his Twitter handle. That's what that is. Okay, that makes sense. All right, now I get it. So like with Tommy, I can pick on him. I can subscribe to Tommy, and I've subscribed to Barb and Alfredo. And that's something that's really huge, is the subscriber base, because I've been talking to Caitlin, and they're talking about list building out here on these event pages where we're going to actually be able to build our email list off of Firetalk.
Brilliant.
Another add-on that's something anyone in business wants to have is the ability to reconnect with those people who came by to watch what they do. And that's forward coming. It's just something that's going to take a little time. So
build the list.
Yes.
Yeah, indeed. The other benefit of subscribing to people, of course, is that when you go live, anybody who's subscribed gets an email, which is brilliant, because it just reminds people that you are on air if they've signed up for your show.
And I've had a lot of good
stuff.
Okay, what's Zim got going? Now, I did see you were on a site the other day. Where did I see you? Live stream something or another. It was a site that's what do you call it? A catalog of sorts. A directory is what I was looking for.
Oh, yeah.
What was that you just signed up for recently?
That was basically that was in Facebook group run by Joel Cohn.
Yeah, I saw that. And is that Joel's site or is that someone else?
I don't think so. I think again he was just helping a friend out.
Okay.
And I've looked at the page. I'm quite happy to be on page one anyway.
Yeah, I saw that.
The information I'm giving out is public,
Yep.
so not a problem from that point of view. Whether it will go forward or not, I mean, we do need. It would be wonderful if a developer came up and said, right, okay, I am going to design this website and you can key in your show schedules and we'll promote it for you. And pay us $2 a month and your shows will get promoted. And, you know, that would be wonderful because that would reduce the load by 50% at least if we were discoverable. If you go to a site and type in, I'm interested in tennis, and then you get all tennis shows. Job done.
Oh,
Job
sure.
done. So you send people to one page and they can type in the search box, they can search for what they want, and search for a person or a topic, and across all the platforms, across Facebook Live.
So you can enter all your channels on there, anything that you broadcast from?
Yep. So
that's interesting. And what was that called, Stephen? What was the name of that?
It doesn't exist.
Oh no! What is the other one that you signed up for? Give you access
hang on.
to that?
Just keep things going. I was going to check out. I just need to go into Joel's group and I'll get the URL.
Trying to figure out what they called it.
In a minute. Yeah, it did have
oh, here it is. Videotoday.com.
Right. Okay.
Video Today. So I'm not sure who runs this. Stephen is on board. He's already signed up. So I'd like to see more like this and we saw like the Blab channel. Okay. That was something that came out when we were on Blab, but it never took off. Oops, I didn't put the HTTP in there to give it some real. So this is something that is recently developed or come out.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it prosper. I'd love to see a directory for live streamers that functions where you could say, okay, Stephen, I see you're on Firetalk, you're on Whoza, you're on Facebook Live, and this is your feed here, 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 and here. Go see whichever show you post and have access, like you said, like kind of a TV guide for live streamers.
That's it. That's exactly it.
Yeah. We need that.
We do. That would make a lot of sense.
Go build one, Stephen.
Right, I'm a desktop designer, not a web programmer.
All right, Neil, we'll see you around. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you indeed.
Don't stream and drive. Hashtag
I'm sure.
don't stream and drive.
No. Yeah, it's been great, Neil. Look forward to seeing you again. And we are moving. Apart from Blabbing for Britain, we'll still be on Blab on Thursdays at 10 o'clock for the foreseeable future. But all the rest of the shows are coming across the Firetalk.
How's the stability been on that show for you?
Well, I've got to say this. I've done 82 shows on Blab.
Yeah.
And I've got 82 recordings. So you can't bat better than that. And as far as the only hang-up, which I discovered last week, is I was going to do a show with a gentleman who has a project which is for desert irrigation. And it's a very worthy project, bringing water into the desert.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
He couldn't sign into Blab. And if you can't sign into Blab, I can't interview you. So, you know, you close the door.
Well, that's what I'd heard, is that they weren't accepting any new accounts.
Which means you can't interview new people.
And you can't watch it if you've never been over there.
Correct.
That's the other problem I had with that. And that's why I haven't been on Blab in 3 months, I think, or 2 anyway.
Right.
I go by just to see what's happening on the site, but I don't ever see anything worthwhile, so I haven't really bothered being over there. It's just a waste of my time, I suppose you'd say. But I started another endeavor, Stephen, just to throw it out there. If anybody, and I may want to touch base with you on some things that maybe I could have shipped over from the UK. I've dealt in vintage equipment for a long time, vintage products, collectibles, things like that. And I've owned the domain vintagebest.net for probably close to 10 years now, or 15. And I finally sparked it up and I have Vintage Best at eBay. You'll see me out there selling just about anything, but it's normally vintage stuff that I go to estate sales and resells, and I pick stuff up at garage sales. But get this. This is a story that really caught me off guard the other day.
Okay.
Went to a sale around the corner because my daughter called and said, hey, there's a big sale going on. It's out in somebody's yard. It might interest you. It looks like they've got some decent stuff out there. So I drive out there in our Dodge Durango, and it's about 50 cents worth of gas. If you didn't see the post on my Facebook page, I said 50 cents worth of gas to get to the sale, $1 for the sale item. And the price list was this. There was this little Ziploc baggie sitting on a shelf in the front yard, and it had a gas cap in it for the vehicle. It actually, I saw it. I picked up the bag and I looked at the bag, and there's a piece of paper and it said, it says gas cap for Lee's truck. If you'd have seen how far my mouth dropped open when I saw this note, because I went by Lee for 45 years of my life. That was my nickname. I go by Leland now primarily because my wife prefers that name, and I tend to use Leland in all of my broadcasting. But it was just so amazing to see somebody had put this gas cap out on the shelf for me to buy for $1, and it fit my truck perfectly because ours broke 2 weeks ago. And it was like, wow, this is freaking amazing. So I do have a new Facebook fan page out there, though, that's called Vintage Best, at Vintage Best. So if you want to catch me out there, if you're into that kind of thing, collectibles, if you want to sell some collectibles or anything like that, let me know. And I'll try to help you promote it and build out something for yourself. So.
You want to put the link in, Leland? I'm happy to.
Well, it's basically just at Vintage Best, I believe.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
The website's not actually, if you just look me up there, Vintage Best at eBay or at Vintage Best on Facebook, you'll find the Facebook page that I'm posting my eBay items to as I bring them in. And it's just about anything. I've got crochet magazines to old computer parts from back in the early 90s. People are eating them up for like gaming on the older 8-bit platforms. It's kind of a retro thing. Yeah.
Those are the days. Retro is big business, isn't it?
It is. It is. I'm kind of amazed. Types of things people are buying nowadays. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, we've just had, was it earlier this year, the 30th anniversary of Doom, or 20th anniversary?
Were you a Doom fan?
I was a Doom fan, indeed. In fact, my two sons were as well, and they used to create levels for Doom.
I used to build them for Duke Nukem.
Yeah, brilliant. Those were the days. That was gaming at its best. Everything else is just a pale imitation.
I don't know if I know we have some people out there. Barb gets online every now and then in some of those virtual reality worlds. And have you played with virtual reality yet, Stephen? Is that like the new Doom for 2016 or what?
It could be. I've never. Second Life was sort of the first one of those, wasn't it?
Barb's a big fan of Second Life. I know.
Right. Okay. I've never owned a processor capable of running Second Life.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah. No, I never got into that really. I mean, it's. I know Michelle is into it. One of my friends, Michelle Harris, and probably knows Barb by that. But
well, that being a lot like live streaming is these MMORPG games or multi-million player type games where you have people from all over the world getting together. I can honestly say they've both brought me peace and joy and some tore up one of my marriages, honestly, by playing MMORPGs. And it was not a good thing because I started an emotional affair. And it was, I'm just being honest here. I'm not going to try and hide facts that exist in my life. It was a very disconcerting point in my life over 15 years ago. And these kind of things happen in these environments where you're someone you're really not. And that's really where virtual reality, to me, it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great that we can become an avatar and be somewhere that we're not. But then when you think about that entire prospect of being somewhere that you're not and being someone you might not really be because you're not really there, what kind of issues can that prosper? I'm just throwing it out there as a possible. What do you think? I mean, is virtual reality a good thing or is it maybe a possible bad thing?
I think it depends how immersed in it you become. It doesn't appeal to me really. I'm quite happy with the world around me.
And I think you and I agree on that.
Escapism, yeah. I mean, to be able to escape into a game is brilliant.
Yeah.
Because it's a form of relaxation alternative to TV. I mean, the thing is, if you escape into reality, you are at least thinking. Where if you sat in front of the television, you switched off.
Yeah, that's true.
No?
And I think it'd be cool, Stephen, that if I looked around and saw, hey, Stephen Healey just walked into my living room, and I saw you in 3D, and we were having it like if you were actually able to sit down at my couch or in a chair, and we could have tea together at 4 p.m. because you were able to be here in the room. Me, preferably over there somewhere in a castle, sitting having tea. That would be really cool experience. That I think would be awesome. Or even a business meeting where you could sit 10 people down to a table that was virtual, and they walk into the room and they have a seat because they're all, I mean, but what is it going to take? Are you going to have to put a suit on and huge goggles and headphones and everything else to do this? That seems
I've said this before, but there's a film, this time starring Bruce Willis.
Which one?
Got me now. It's the one where he is a cop, but he's a virtual cop.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. I know.
IMDb Rescue. Yeah. Yes, I mean, it's mind-boggling, really.
Surrogates. That was it.
Right. Okay.
Surrogates.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That was back in 2009. All right. I'll have to go watch that again now. Thanks, Stephen. I appreciate it.
Brilliant film. It's a brilliant film. The concept, as you say, is a fascinating one, and to be able to dip in and out of it. I mean, that's what films and books do. They allow you to escape the day-to-day situation, which you need to every now and again.
Do you see
like a good book?
Do you see this trend taking off really big over there in the UK?
I think it will, yes. There's such investments being made in the technology by the giants.
Okay.
We've got the same giants that you have.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, Microsoft, Google, etc. And they are making huge investments. It's going to take off. I just, I think I'll be on the fringe of it and trying it out rather than in the center of it.
Now, you're a big Google fan, right? Do you Android or are you Apple?
I'm 80% of the world is not Apple. That's all I'm saying.
That's a good point.
I've got Android phone, Android tablet, and a desktop PC with Windows 10.
Yep. And I figured that being an SQL programmer, that was likely where you were at. And if you haven't seen the word out lately, Google is in the process right now. By the end of 2016, they should have their own version of the Android phone that is going to be a direct competitor with the iPhone. So that's the biggest news that's out on their end of things.
Yeah, I've got to, obviously, I wouldn't describe myself as anti-Apple, but I'm not an Apple fanboy. And they have, over the years, produced beautiful products, beautifully styled, which function extremely well. Yeah. And they're unbeatable in that respect. But it's a closed garden. And they're very controlling of that environment, and for their own reasons, and they're making money, and who's going to say they can't do that? But the situation is that I believe in that software should be, if not free, at least you should be able to have a wider choice.
Be able to afford the phone in the first place when they're like $650 for an iPhone. I will never pay. I'll pay $200 maybe for honestly, I've been eyeballing this phone called the Honor 5X, which it's an aluminum case phone made by Healey. I can't pronounce their name. It's like
SUAEW something or other.
Yes, that's it. It's exactly it. But it's called the Honor 5X, and it goes for $200. It's very much what looks to be a physical competitor to an iPhone, and it also has the aluminum case with the fingerprinting module on the back side of the phone. So all you have to do is touch it with your finger from the back, and it turns the phone up or fires it up, opens it up. And it has supposedly an 8-core processor on it, which I thought was pretty amazing for a phone. So it's something to look into if you're an Android user. I know as soon as I have the ability, I'm going to grab one to check it out and see what it's like. I may try to get it through Amazon first.
Yeah. I mean, I remember if we go back a couple of years, every Apple announcement was greeted with oohs and ahs from everybody. and that's you're pushing technology forward and what have you. But nowadays, when Apple have a show, the feeling after the last one was, so what? Do you think they've dropped the ball?
Yeah, I think they assume a certain user base is always going to pay a certain price for their product. And by doing so, you limit your audience. You've created a niche, let's say a niche. I'm sorry, I should say that properly from your perspective. If you create a niche that is generalized to only a certain ability to become a part of that niche, then you're going to limit yourself. And yeah, I think you will drop the ball, but
yeah,
who's to say? We'll see what Google, because the problem with these things right now is that there's so much scatter in the amount of differentiation in coding. The fact that everybody out there has a different version of Android on their phone right now is kind of sad. That's one thing iOS has right, is that every time a new phone comes out, everybody gets updated.
Yep.
And even when a new software comes out, everybody gets updated. That's why iOS is always the first forerunner when it comes to a new app coming out. It always goes to iOS first because everybody can run that app when it opens. So
that's right.
Big difference.
Indeed.
All right, Stephen. Well, I'm out of things to say today. I don't know why.
No, we've had. I mean, the time's flown,
yes.
and we're coming up towards the hour. Thank you, everybody who's joined us over the course of the hour. The thing I discovered today is that I mean, after the show we get stats, which is we didn't get on Blab, and we see how many people actually attended the event. Blow me down. I thought my event this lunchtime was quiet. I thought, half dozen people, well, perhaps 10 people at most.
Yeah.
5 of whom came on camera and had a chat. So it was a good interactive session. But blow me down, when I got to the stats, there were 41 viewers. So
yeah, you'd be surprised.
Yeah. So I wasn't talking to myself for 10 minutes.
Nope.
There was somebody out there watching. So we've got to assume that as soon as you go live on air, somebody somewhere is watching you, but not necessarily logged in or declaring themselves.
Exactly. And that's why I love Firetalk, because it does give us that ability again, well, even more so than we've ever experienced before, to not just have those that we have as friends on our friends list or subscribers on our subscribe list, or people logged into a specific account so that they can see where we're broadcasting, that anyone can show up here based on the fact that they were out on firetalk.com, saw a little feed that said this one's live, and that was similar to Blab. But also, if we're willing and ready, we can go to firetalk.com and say, hey guys, I've got a big event coming up. Would you please post this on your Facebook page? They are more than happy to do that. So keep that in mind next time we do one of these. Maybe we can let them know ahead of time and see where it goes. But who knows? We'll see.
So now's a good time to say that Leland and I are here at 5 o'clock in UK and midday in the Eastern United States.
Yes, sir.
Every Tuesday. And
1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Very good. All right.
We'll always find him over. Well, you'll find us both at firetalk.com/Stephen. And you're going to make that Stephen Healey, right?
I heard back, and they are going to do it.
Okay, good. And that way you remove the hyphen. And for those people who aren't familiar with that, when you created a Firetalk account, if you did come out here and you created an account, it will default to your name with a hyphen centered between your first and last name. We always highly recommend that if you want people to be able to remember where you're located, contact Firetalk at firetalk.com, have them remove the hyphen from your username, and that way that you can simply say at firetalk.com/Leland Best or Stephen Healey, and you'll find us out here. Okay.
Sound advice. Then the situation is what I mastered. If people typed in Stephen and Blab into Google, I got the front page. I had the front page on Yahoo. I had the front page on Bing. Now I've got to get the front page for Stephen Firetalk. So I'm working on it, and we'll see what happens.
That'll work.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure.
As always.
As always. Yeah.
We'll
Take
see
care.
you next week. All right. Cheers.
Indeed. Take care. Bye. Bye, everybody.